The squirrel was magic! Hey! This is Animankai, and we are very abrupt with our introductions. I was supposed to sing this, but Andrew informed me that he would run away if I tried.
Yes.
I've been in a very musical mood today, so if I break out into song, you've been warned. As usual, we'll start with random figure talk, because Andrew brings all the figures nowadays because I'm incompetent.
Yes, I know, and luckily I have so many that I can keep doing it week to week.
Yeah, I got a few more figures left, but I guess I'll try to bring them next time.
You should.
Oh yeah, sorry for being absent for like 3 weeks.
Yes, we just had stuff that came up.
Things happened. We'll try to be slightly more consistent. We say that, but we really will.
These were just a few of my friends had some family emergencies that I was with them for, so that was emergency situation stuff.
So yes, we are back, thankfully. Andrew should show off his figures because they belong to him.
All right. Well, the reason that I brought these specific figures today is because of what it says for our topic. We're doing with anime and stuff endings. So I actually brought figures that corresponded with what we think have good endings.
Well, 2 of them.
2 of them. And, well, the third one has, at least for the first season, good ending.
Good season.
Yeah.
Good season 1 ending.
So I guess we'll start off with this guy. We got Lelouch from Code Geass.
Full name, Andrew.
I can't remember his full name.
Lelouch V. Britannia or Lelouch Lamperouge.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, I know who he is. I just couldn't remember his full name.
Which one do you like better, V. Britannia or Lamperouge? Like, Lelouch Lamperouge rolls nice,
yeah.
but Lelouch V. Britannia sounds like he's a fucking king.
Which he's the heir to a king, so it makes sense.
Yeah, so...
I don't know.
Yeah, they're both cool.
Yep. This particular figure actually comes with 2 changes of arms, one where he's bending his hand to where he can hold his helmet, and 2 heads, one with just both his normal eyes, and then one with his Geass.
Yeah, we're actually... Facebook shut down for some reason.
Oh no, Facebook shut down. How are we going to stall for time? I did say I would sing.
No, you will not sing. Are we still going then?
Nope.
We're not?
What? We're starting all the way over?
Not all the way over. We're just going to jump in. And for some reason...
So what are they seeing right now?
Facebook sees nothing, but everywhere else sees stuff.
Oh, so we're on.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what the crap?
Wow. So should we still keep going with what we're doing, or should we wait for Facebook to come? The squirrel was magic! The squirrel was magic! Yeah, good. Hey, this is Animankai. Things happened, but we're back.
We had some technical
if you somehow
difficulties.
saw what we just did, but we're here for real this time. Yeah. So sorry we haven't been here the last few weeks. We had some things come up, so just family things Andrew went to, and it's all been good. But yeah, hi again. As usual, Andrew brought a beret, because that's a word. That's not the right word. An assortment of beautiful figures.
A beret is a hat, though. So
Beret is a hat. None of them were wearing a hat. Lelouch is wearing a helmet. That's not a hat. Sad story, bro. But an assortment of figures for you to gaze at and for him to explain. And I'll let him do that because they're his figures.
Well, they're with our topic of being anime that we think that have good endings or stuff like that.
Or bad endings.
Which this guy is kind of a mix of both.
Yeah, we'll explain him.
We'll explain him in a minute. And then we got Lelouch from Code Geass. And like I said, Code Geass is actually a very good show that we both enjoy.
Most people do.
Most people do because it actually has an all-around good story.
Mm-hmm. And conclusion.
Even
though they announced a new season, so it remains to be seen if that stays the case. But
right, we'll have to wait and see how that progresses.
But everyone, I'm sure, is excited about that regardless. I know I am.
Oh, yeah. Very much so. And, yeah, obviously, it's like a little bit weird because when you first start watching it, you get a little confused by just how skinny everybody actually is. It's like it throws you off for about the first episode or two. You're like, they are ungodly skinny.
Yeah, I was mentioning it before we even started the podcast. I do think that figure exaggerates the skinniness a little bit, to be honest. But maybe it's just been too long since I watched Code Geass.
I think it might be because I've seen some stuff, and this is about his actual dimension.
Okay.
And then another character from Code Geass
is the heroine,
C2.
Yeah. She's a witch.
Well, we don't actually know fully what she is. She's just, like, they do reference her as kind of an immortal witch, but don't think she actually is. I mean, she just seems to cause somewhat of problems wherever she goes.
She's kind of, I don't know. It's been a while since I watched it. I don't want to make any false claims here.
But from what I do know, though, she grants people powers for some odd reason. Yeah, well, it doesn't always have to be eyes.
She gives them the Sharingan.
It doesn't have to be eyes, because remember, Mao, he was able to read minds. That had nothing to do with his eyes.
His eyes didn't change when he used his Geass?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he actually had to tell as to what changed with him. He was just able to read minds. That's why he always had
the
visor and the headphones and everything else like on, so that way he couldn't supposedly not hear or see into someone's mind.
Yeah. But regardless, she gives people powers.
She does.
She's cool.
And yeah, she's fairly nice, very nice. She's really good.
She's really nice.
Really good in the show. Like I was actually very surprised at that because you think that normally they show up and they don't do all that much.
Well, she's the main character though.
He was the main charter. She was the
way she set up,
heroine.
Yeah, but the way it's set up, you know she's gonna be super relevant. And also you should know that she's named C2 because CC's Pizza. She's got all these pizza themes. She sleeps with the Japanese Pizza Hut mascot plushie, and she does. She's got all kinds of pizza references. She likes pizza, so there's that.
Yeah,
just a fun little thing.
And then
And
the other one.
Yeah, those were the series that had a good or the series that had a good ending.
And
now
then-
let's go to one that's a questionable ending.
We got Kaneki from Code Geass.
Kaneki
Or from
from-
Tokyo Ghoul.
Yeah.
My bad. My mistake.
Dude, Kaneki was my favorite character in Code Geass.
Yeah.
But that figure's awesome, though. The amount of detail. The detail is beautiful. The rocks. I like the chains. He's cracking his finger. We were kind of talking about it earlier, but every single teenager in existence who watched that show afterwards can probably try to crack their fingers like that exclusively for like the month after they watched it before they realized that they couldn't. But
And it's all very hard to see, but it's like he's even got the detail of the vein things popping out from his back with his, what are they called again?
Kagune.
Kagunes.
I think his is a Renkaku. It's the
Something,
kind
yeah, the one that comes out at the lower back.
yeah. He's an overall badass.
Yeah.
And that figure is like, apparently, even though it's really big and pretty detailed, Andrew says it's cheap.
Yeah, it was only like about $40, $45, which I was very surprised at, and it came out, usually figures that cheap are very low quality. This is very high quality.
Yeah. And we're going to talk more about like Tokyo Ghoul and Code Geass later probably, so won't go super deep into the ending, but the anime first season had a pretty good ending even though it was a giant cliffhanger. But after that, every subsequent everything in Tokyo Ghoul had a shitty ending. but yeah, that's about it for the figures.
Yeah.
I don't know which one I like the best. They're all nice. I'll put them
Yeah, just face them out a bit like that.
like that.
I'll put that over there since you don't bring anything anymore.
I will next time.
Sure you will.
Time. You just gotta give me some space, bro. No, but before we get into the ending, I mean, it is going to be an ending discussion, but before we get into the general ending discussion, we were going to talk about a certain anime that ended recently, particularly because of its controversial ending, so use it as kind of a segue. But I'm sure most anime fans watched Darling in the Franxx if you keep up with seasonal anime. If you don't, then, you know.
Whatever.
Then sorry. But Darling in the Franxx was a show that we both liked a lot and watched the whole way through consistently. Andrew watched it. He was ahead of me at first. Like you were.
Yeah.
I had to play catch up because you were what? 8 episodes in?
Yeah.
Something like that before I got into it, and everyone online was talking about it. So I was like, you know
I
what?
actually-
Peer pressure. Better go watch Darling in the Franxx.
When I originally started, I was planning like, all right, because I wanted to see it, but I figured because in the past I've done the stuff where it's like I don't like waiting week to week for the thing, so I was like, all right, try to let the whole show come out and just watch all in one go.
He likes to binge.
I like to binge.
He's a Netflix watcher.
Or Crunchyroll in this case.
Yeah. Well, I meant Netflix usually goes for like, you should binge this show. That's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like how they advertise their service.
But yeah, I tried that. There was like 5 episodes out, and I was like, all right, I've been seeing a lot of AMVs and all this stuff. I've been trying to avoid spoilers for it, so I was like, all right, I'll watch the first episode to see what I'm getting into.
For the very uneducated, AMV stands for anime music video. It's when people take anime and put it to music online and edit it around to make it look cool. Yeah.
And so I watched the first episode. I was like, this is really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then before I knew it, I watched all 5 in one sitting. And I was like, damn it, now I have to wait weekly. And then
And you're
from
like, Mark, you should watch Darling in the Franxx. And I'm like, okay.
yeah.
If you insist.
And then it was such a good start. It had really good, and then
Comments online every week, like crazy.
Oh,
Theory
yeah.
crafting because the world was really I should say, it was really easy to theorize about on the account that they set up a lot without explaining a lot very quickly. Like,
Yeah.
oh, here's the plantation, and here's the Klaxosaurs, and here's everything, but no answers.
yeah.
So it incited a lot.
But
of
that was
talking.
also the good point about that too, because it was build up. You're like, okay, when are they going to explain about this? Where is these things coming from? What is this? What is that?
Too bad most of the answers were bad, but still.
Yeah.
but yeah.
Then it was all good for everything, and then the crowning jewel. We got episode 13.
Episode 13 of Darling in the Franxx. If
Is-
you don't like Darling in the Franxx, or if you don't want to give it a chance, you could just watch episode 13.
Just watch episode 13. It's like, honestly, like it will spoil a lot, but at the same time, it's a very impactful episode, regardless if you've seen the rest of it or not.
Yeah, basically, up till episode 13, I was on board with Darling in the Franxx. I was like, this is interesting. But 13 is essentially serves as a backstory to like the main 2 characters,
Hero and 02.
Hero and Zero Two. And it was so good. It was amazing.
The feels galore.
Feels galore.
Feels everywhere.
But after episode 13, like some questionable things popped up, but it was still a high quality show. It was still good, even though episode 14 destroyed the internet.
Yeah, episode 14 wrecked the internet, and everybody was saying, the show is over, the series is done.
The show's terrible, Jesus Christ, who wants to watch Darling and Franxx so bad?
And then episode 15 came in and fixed it.
Yeah, immediately.
Episode 14.
It was a big overreaction because...
Episode 14 served a purpose.
Shit, damn, are you really
Lucky 13.
Rob? Lucky 13. I don't know what that means. I don't know what any of that means.
I don't either.
Rob said, what's up, guys? I'm a huge Godzilla fan. And then that guy said, shit, he's friends with Rob.
Oh.
He was saying, shit, damn, are you real, Rob? And Lucky 13 had to do with the 13th episode that made it.
Right, that one I figured.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we didn't see the comments till now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Godzilla fans, but this isn't going to be much of a kaiju-based podcast this time around, but...
There's actually... I can swing in, too, things about it.
Oh.
But we can cover that a little bit later on.
Okay, yeah.
Because it still revolves around endings and stuff too.
Okay, so we can try to squeeze into some kaiju love at the end here. But so yeah, episodes like I would say 14 through 19 were
they were really
18
good.
Were
actually 19 I would still count.
Were reviewed pretty well. But then like shit got weird.
Kind of started going downhill from 20 to 24.
Yeah, and was 25 the last episode?
No, I think it was only 24.
Oh, yeah.
I think there was only 24 episodes.
And it was really disappointing. But before we go into, like, the plot of, like, how it messed up, I guess, maybe we just talk about some of the characters and stuff, and some of the characters we liked and didn't like. Like, because in regards to the ending, the reason, like, that actually had some good points is the side characters. Like, some of the side characters had, like, decent, good endings themselves, even though the ending of the show itself was questionable and not very good. Like... For example, pregnant girl name.
Which one?
The only one.
There was a few.
The main girl. The main girl who got pregnant.
There was... Okay, are you talking about like near
the student?
They were all students!
There's only one!
Remember, there was Kokoro and Ichigo. So
okay,
which one?
Kokoro.
The one
that was focused on for 95% of the show, and not Ichigo, who got pregnant at the last episode.
Well, you didn't say that. You just said the pregnant girl. It's like, okay, well, which one?
The logic is it's there. We're getting into an argument on camera.
Yeah, we do every time anyway. So we apologize, but this is just who we are.
And. Okay,
fine.
The character,
Kokoro.
Kokoro, the one whose entire focus of her character was getting pregnant. She had a pretty good resolution at the end because, like, the pregnancy thing actually turned out kind of nice, and she got with the dude, and it was like the baby was adorable, and.
But that also ties into the character development of Mitsuru.
Yeah, he started
because he started off as the typical. Snobby douche. I don't give a shit about anything kind of character. But then
he slowly. Which
episode actually was it?
We got like the reveal about him being Hiro's like friend, and he basically just had a resentment towards the main character.
Yeah, because he forgot Hiro, the main character, forgot about a promise that he made with him, but that was only because he had his memory erased. Which also ties into why the episode 13 was so good, because it was Hiro and 02 remembering their past.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was also the reason for the feels and stuff, too.
Yeah. But then there was other characters who kind of, like, didn't really matter too much. Like, basically, the one...
Futoshi?
Futoshi, the original person who teamed up with Kokoro, the girl who got pregnant. He just kind of fell into the background after she chose the other guy over him, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then there was like Ikuno. She like a bunch of the people had a huge problem with the show because she was a lesbian essentially, and the whole entire show is kind of like based around heterosexual bonds. So she kind of got screwed over because in the show you have to have a male and a female driver.
Well, she could still do that. It never said they had to be a couple when they were piloting. They just had to be a male and female.
I know, but she didn't like doing it because it was like...
Right.
It was kind of like equated to sex.
Pretty much, yes.
So, like, she had all those, like, big issues she brought up with, like, the whole theme of the show, but it didn't really go anywhere very much. She kind of just got thrown aside at the end, so that was kind of pointless.
Yeah.
But the main issue that made the show fall off, because we can't sit here and talk about Darling in the Franxx all day because we got a lot of other stuff to get through.
We could, but yeah, we probably shouldn't.
Yeah. Is aliens. Aliens.
Which, honestly, for the way it is, it was from the same studio that did Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill. So you knew
the first half anyway. It was a cooperation between Studio Trigger, who did Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann, and A1 Pictures.
Right.
But
in a way,
Trigger, they may have left off halfway through, which may explain some of the issues.
Yeah, but it's still, with being that it was done by them, you knew that space and all that stuff was inevitable anyway.
You say that, but I don't think that justifies the writing.
No, it doesn't justify the writing, but you could have an expectation that it was like, okay, at some point, something spacey is going to happen.
Might.
Not as bad as it did, but you could have figured that something was probably going to happen.
Yeah, but I just don't think you should be like, well, this show's done by this studio, so it's going to have this particular plot point, because that doesn't...
That's kind of what a lot of reviews that I've seen online about Studio Trigger and all that stuff is, that most of their shows end in space.
They do, but I'm just saying, when...
Right,
with Gurren Lagann, it built up to space.
Right.
It was thematically appropriate to lead to space.
Yes.
Kill la Kill, less so, still made sense. Not so much with Darling in the Franxx. It was just...
kind of boom.
Yeah, we have these antagonists who are on the planet already, named the Klaxosaurs. But suddenly aliens. Klaxosaurs don't matter anymore. Aliens are responsible for everything.
Well, it's because the Klaxosaurs turned out were not the villain.
Yeah, they were good all along, and they literally just were people who came from underground. They didn't have any deep origin story like everyone thought they would. They were just, they're underground people. And the people who own the plantations are just apparently in with... Two of them were in with the aliens. And
Called Verm.
And they just kind of ruined the plot, because they came and blew up things, and they had to go off to space to fight them, and...
The space battle
wasn't even that good. It wasn't that good. They went into like a wormhole. They were like, we gotta leave you guys.
After we got a giant 02.
Yeah, main girl turned into a Gundam. Because reasons.
Which was interesting, but...
It fell off the deep end.
It kind of did.
At the end. Like, it had a couple decent moments here at the end, like I said, mostly involving the side characters, because they were... During the space battle, this other side character went back to Earth. They started, like, rebuilding the planet and, like,
this was
moving along with their lives.
This was years and stuff that went by.
Yeah. At least, especially for the people in space, it was even longer.
No, it was the same amount of time for regardless.
Oh, yeah, it just took longer to get back.
Right.
But, so all the stuff that took place on Earth in the final episode was okay.
Then the fight was even the final fight was kind of weak.
Underwhelming.
Yeah, but then...
And then the resolution to the whole plot. Like, they kind of come back to life later.
They got reincarnated into a world that was basically back to normal.
It was bad, man. So the reason we wanted to bring up Darling in the Franxx is because it's probably the ending that's the most fresh in the mainstream anime community's mind. As far as, like, the seasonal anime community, the ones who watch things as they come out, you know. The new season just started. We're on, like, episode 2 of, like, all the new series. Like, episode 2 of Attack on Titan just came out. So, as far as, like, the anime season that just ended, Darling in the Franxx was the one everyone was talking about, and the one that disappointed everyone.
Yeah.
There are people who still are okay with it.
Oh, I still like the show, but it's like, as far as ending goes, it was kind of a letdown.
Yeah, it was...
Everything up till about episode 20 was fantastic, and then the last...
1 through 12 was good. 13 was fantastic.
Yes.
14 through 19 was good again. And
I would say,
in my opinion,
everything from 1 to 12 was good. 13 was just godly.
15 was also really
15 was really good. Not quite as high, but pretty close.
Yeah.
And then from then on out, I'd say they were highly good.
Yeah. But also, just random little point here. The other, like, issue a lot of people have with Darling in the Franxx is that it's very, very Evangelion.
Yeah, it's a very good Evangelion type thing.
Like, it's a little bit of an Eva clone, but it's cool.
It fit.
Yeah,
it made it fit.
It didn't ruin my experience, but I wasn't the biggest Eva watcher in the world either. So maybe if I was like Andrew watched Eva like recently, So you probably caught the similarities even further than I did. Like,
Oh yeah.
the robot going berserk and the wife dying randomly, and main guy not wanting to get in the robot but has to get in the robot and get
No,
the
that
fucking
was
robot.
different
Shinji.
because Hero actually
He wanted to get in the
He
robot.
wanted to get in the robot. He wanted to pilot.
Hey guys, hey,
How's it going?
hi, Christy
Royer?
Is that your
I
girlfriend?
think.
Christy?
That's Paul's wife.
Oh.
Plot twist.
Okay.
Hi. Sorry, we didn't know who she was
Yeah.
at first.
But then they also had like I think it was episode 5 or whatever, with that giant humanoid-looking Klaxosaur that was like pounding them to death.
There was some good animation thrown.
It had like the Ava wings.
Yeah.
So yeah, that episode in particular was an Ava episode.
But it could have been like how it could have been better is if they just left the Verm shit just stuck on Earth, you know. Maybe just even if they wanted to keep the Klaxosaurs as the good guys, they should have just fought against like Papa and stuff and made them the villains. They didn't have to go to space. It was so out of nowhere.
Well, when they first showed up, it was like, yeah, they were out of nowhere, but then they drove them away and it's like, we'll be back. It's like that would have
even more pointless.
But that would even have been a good way to go. It's like, okay, leave it at that. Have the remaining episodes figuring out how to work with the Klaxosaurs and all that, and then save the stuff with Verm for season 2.
Yeah, that would have even been better.
Yeah, that could have
because
done
then
that.
it could have been consistent. Like we
Yeah.
have a whole season about the alien stuff. We can build it up properly.
Then knowing that it's like Verm will come back one day, so we need to work on getting ready.
And Verm weren't even cool aliens. They were lame as shit aliens.
Yeah, they kind of were. It's like they didn't even have a physical form that we saw.
Yeah, they just had a bunch of purple ships that
Yeah.
turned into a bigger purple ship. Compare that to the fucking anti-spiral. It
Yeah,
was
pretty
awesome.
much. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I guess you got anything else about Darling in the Franxx, particularly itself, that you wanted to talk about before we move on to more general stuff?
No, I think we pretty much covered just about what we needed to cover about it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into general ending discussion. I guess starting kind of with manga first, since there's quite a bit of differences as to like why manga end badly or well versus why anime do, because there's just different issues at play in the background. But like compared to U.S. publications and stuff, or compared to U.S. comics, I don't know why I said publications. My brain is all over the place. But when it comes to manga, like it's got one author the whole time. Like, you know, we've talked about this in other episodes, but
I think we have.
How, you know, American authors, like they have multiple people who do like the Incredible Hulk comic and stuff. But for mangaka, usually it sticks with just one author. Like one person writes the whole story. And usually draws the art too. Sometimes there's people.
Yeah, they'll have
there's
assistants and
duos.
help. Yeah.
Like, I think we just talked about one of your series that did like the duo assistant. Oh yeah. It was actually High School of the Dead. It has the author.
Oh, yeah.
The author is not the same as the artist.
Huh.
Yeah, but sad story about like this is that's a bit of a different ending. The author of High School of the Dead died.
Yeah.
The artist of High School of the Dead died. So that's why that's a rare one. But generally, since it's only one person doing all the work most of the time, they can very easily get like burned out and overwhelmed, and they like
Just want to wrap it up.
Yeah, because if it's a popular series, they're often encouraged by the magazines to like drag it out. Like, oh, this is a good show. We need to keep this going 5-10 years, and without any breaks and with a really terrible schedule they have, it's not easy a lot of the time. So that's like one of the reasons why there's a big problem with certain manga endings and whatnot. But yeah, I can't talk. Another reason is if the editors of the manga get too involved or aren't involved enough. Like for example, Tite Kubo is the author of Bleach. His series, apparently he got into it with his editor in Jump. Because if you didn't know, you know that manga have editors, right? Did you know that? Yeah. He wouldn't listen to his, and they did not like each other, and he just kept drawing things his own way and taking his story his own route, and his route was really repetitive and kind of lame. So he got into this like stressful relationship with Shonen Jump, and they basically from the fans assumed they forced him to axe it after that. But it kind of came out that he said he ended it on his own terms and he was just having health issues.
Well, does that also kind of tie in with what happened with season 2 of Tokyo Ghoul?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. Well, not editor influence.
Well, there was something with it. You said that the author, the author had all the stuff for season 2, wrote a script.
Oh, yeah. So that's well, that's more about like anime stuff, but we'll go and talk about it. So with Tokyo Ghoul, like Route A, it was the made up season 2 for the Tokyo Ghoul anime. Because for some reason they couldn't just adapt it like it was in the manga. They just wanted to do their own thing. So they asked the author of the series to make them a draft and to make his own outlines for season 2 that they would use.
He did.
And he did. He was like, I got you, fam. I'll do that. That sounds great. And then they threw it in the gutter and made it their own thing.
Like, too dark. We can't show this.
Yeah. And it was really bad. And Rude was horrible. And that probably sucked for the author. Like, oh man, I put all that work in, and they didn't.
You ruined my stuff.
You couldn't do my original, so I wrote a new one, and you couldn't do the new one.
Yeah,
that's probably what he thought.
Probably.
And then Tokyo Ghoul's re-anime got made, and they tried to follow the manga again, but now they're at the point where they're apparently going to try to finish the manga chapters in the anime by adapting 120 chapters in 12 episodes.
Ooh.
So, generally, about 3 chapters an episode is the average. They're going to need, like, 10 chapters an episode to reach that.
They're not going to have anything.
To skip and destroy everything, and it's going to be bad. And Tokyo Ghoul's manga actually had a really unsatisfactory ending, too, because the author was actually really honest about it, but he was done. He was just done writing it. He had an afterwards of his final volume, like in the manga, where he just had this giant 3-paragraph essay about why he finished Tokyo Ghoul when he did. And it's like, apparently, he was working so hard and without help that he like was sick to the point where he couldn't taste food anymore. He said like he felt like a ghoul because he couldn't taste food anymore. And he says he was just doing it to make money. And he wasn't having fun drawing it anymore. And mangaka get like normal basic pay pretty much.
Ooh.
So it's like, I'm sorry that I'm chewing my fingernail, but and then another thing that can cause a manga to have like a bad ending is just if you go into the making process and don't really have an ending planned.
Yeah.
Like.
It's like, oh, this is coming to an end. We need to just throw something together.
Well, like, it's more... Yeah, well, that too. Well, yeah, if it's rushed.
Yeah, rushed endings.
But this one's more so, like, when you make the story and you have, like, a really compelling beginning. Like, I got this. I know exactly how I want to start this series. But you don't have any idea where you're going to go with it.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the times, like, that's why the first arcs of a bunch of series are great. There's some people who don't like Naruto. And they're like, well, the Land of Waves arc was awesome. But after that... Which those people are picky bastards. But... But it does happen.
Yeah.
So, just future planning is nice, you know? Gotta...
Foresight. Some nice foresight would be nice.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure to have the world building and, like, the plot figured out before just, like, figuring out the characters, you know? If you figure out the characters first without thinking of the plot, you're gonna get lost in just the characters and whatnot. But which is fine in certain series, but if you're trying to go for, like, a progressive plot, that can mess things up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's some of the issues. We don't have any more comments. It's sad. Sad story, bro. But we'll move on to like some of like the reasons anime kind of has issues. And this is the first one is like just production and staff changes. For example, with Darling and the Franxx, like from what we understand, like it started with a combination work between Trigger and A1, but according to rumors and I think it might have been even confirmed that like Trigger
just kind of fell off or just resigned.
Mm-hmm. And it just I don't know if the main writer resigned or if like the director did, but that might have been why it got so much worse.
Yeah,
because I don't think Verm was even planned. Like that's another thing. They probably didn't plan for Verm at the beginning of the series. Like they probably came up with Verm halfway through and then
had to find a way to implement it quick.
Yeah, which I don't know. That's a possibility because often like you need to have like your whole anime finished before you even start releasing it. it just depends on the studio. Some studios like report that I think they like finish the episode the day before it airs sometimes, and that's wacky. Another reason is that basically anime acts as an advertisement for manga, like in Japan anyway. Like the reason you make anime is to advertise the manga if it's a anime based on a manga.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times the anime gets the shit end of the stick is if it catches up to the manga.
Yeah.
If you don't have any more content to make, more anime, that's why you'll either get a cliffhanger ending because you're gonna stop in volume like Yona. You're gonna stop right when they meet the Earth Dragon, and
that's just the Blue Dragon. They don't really have a specific element.
Oh, I thought you said they met the Earth one in the last episode.
That's
of the anime.
Why do you keep saying that? It's White Dragon, Blue Dragon, Green Dragon, Yellow Dragon. They met the yellow one at the end.
I thought they were all based on elements.
No, they're not.
Whoa. More random arguments in the middle. But they met the Yellow Dragon.
Yes.
Like the last 10 seconds, like the last half of the last episode, you said?
Yep.
And then they're like, we're done.
With the anime, and it ties into the manga of how they did. I think they ended it at the end of a manga arc, so they didn't exactly skip anything. They just haven't had a continuation with the anime yet.
And you said, and most people said that it would have been even better if they ended an episode before that.
Yeah, if they would have ended after, I can't really. I don't want to go into the thing, but if they would have ended it at the end of probably the last arc, then it would have been a perfect ending for the season to wait until they had more information.
Yeah. Because
they have a lot of extra stuff there past, but I don't think they have quite enough for a season 2 yet.
Mm-hmm. But another thing is some studios like Full Metal Alchemist, for example, they'll make up their own endings.
Yeah.
Which often turns out okay if you've got a good ending in mind. It's better than if you're planning on never coming back to make more of that anime, it's better to end it with your own because apparently they never intend to go back and redo Soul Eater. But,
yeah, unfortunately.
But I would still say it's better that they ended it with the Falcon friendship punch of doom, killing the Kishin. Better than just ending it I don't know,
open ended.
They go to the moon and it cliffhangers there.
Yeah,
So.
But I still would like if somebody would come back and redo that series at least for the second half, or however long it is. But yeah, they just need to finish Soul Eater.
I agree. Preferably still by Bones.
Yeah, Bones had good animation.
Mm-hmm. Bones and Madhouse. My Hero Academia, bro.
Oh yeah.
Train of thought. Choo choo. Out the door. But yeah, so certain studios actually have a tendency to, adapt things a certain way. Like Studio Pierrot, for example, is the ones who do Naruto and Bleach and all the other long-running series. They'll just adapt from the beginning and just pad it out with filler and stuff, as opposed to places like Bones and Madhouse, which often just do seasonal 26 episodes.
Yeah.
And those are the 26 seasonal animes are usually the ones that wind up having these ending problems. Because the problem with long-running anime tend to be not the ending, it's their journey getting to the ending because you pad it out with filler and bullshit and bad pacing.
Yeah.
So the shorter series have better pacing and everything, but just a bad ending if they...
Well, a lot of the shows that I've seen, they're ironically very short, like the 10 or 12 episode range, and a lot of them still have ending problems. They resolve a conflict, but they still leave it open-ended.
And are these ones that actually have a manga, or are they ones that are anime original?
Some of them have a manga, I think, and even that, they might not just have enough, but I still think that it's just because they just stop it, and I don't know if it was going to do more or what, but it just doesn't seem like they're going to go any further with it.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Sad story, bro. But, how do I think this whole issue could be fixed a little bit? I think if you gave more money to the animators and the mangaka...
Well, that's always the problem. Money.
Japan is, finicky as shit with their money, and they pay people animators. There's, just not directors, not producers, animators. There's currently an animator shortage in Japan right now. Because, because animators are getting paid dick wages. Like they're like just normal animators.
Yeah.
Like not the crazy ones who come in and do Naruto versus Sasuke at the Valley of the End.
Yeah.
Those are what you call freelancers. They basically are so good that they set their pay, and the studio says, please, Wakabayashi-san, that's one of them. You're a badass. We love you. We'll give you whatever you want if you animate this episode and make it cool.
Which is good for them to do that too, because it's like they know that they're worth what they know they're worth what they want for their work.
Yeah, so if you're a freelance animator, you're good, but the amount of freelance animators out there are limited on the account that freelance animators are gods, and and they're freelance for a reason because they are so good that the people come to them. They don't go to the people. You know,
it's like if we want to, it's like we want a good ending for our show, we need to find this freelancer, so we got to go find him and then see if we can cough up enough money to get his attention to do our ending for us.
And you know what I'm really curious about though is that I don't think they're like there's certain like I was talking to you about like the Bakugo flying through the air scene, you know, or the Todoroki versus Deku Fire Ice Clash. Like that guy is permanently with Bones, but he's as good as a freelance animator. So I wonder if he just like gets freelance animator pay or if he's paid normal wages. Because if so, then he's getting robbed.
He could be a freelance and just work with them.
Yeah, probably exclusively just like a contract freelance animator. That kind of defeats the purpose of freelance. But I guess he can go to other studios if he wants to.
Oh yeah, it's like he probably can.
Yutaka Nakamura is his name. He's so good.
He is good.
He's if you ever want to recognize the animator we're talking about, whenever there's an explosion or things get destroyed, they will always come out in perfect cubes. Everyone calls them Utapon cubes because like whenever like if you've watched My Hero Academia, the big Fire Ice Clash at the end of the sports festival, like just the stadium just shoots out into cubes, cubes everywhere. So Utapon cubes, bro.
Nice.
But traditional animators and whatnot get paid really terribly, and
it's kind of ironic.
It's kind of bad.
Yeah,
it's kind of bad.
It is.
So I think
considering how much that their works sell for,
you
think they'd get a little bit more pay.
Yeah, I think like musicians who work with anime, like the people who do the soundtracks and stuff, and the directors, everyone get pretty good pay, but the animators get the shit end of the stick.
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
And I mean, I guess that the people that make the songs and the music for the animes, I can understand why they get paid a bit more, because without the music, it's just like the manga. It's like it's still good, but music a lot of times impacts it the most.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that if you like, you'll sell the soundtrack of the show afterwards,
right?
So they're gonna get
more endorsements.
Yeah, they're gonna get some of the cut from the soundtracks probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not just animators. It's also the mangaka themselves. The people who just write the manga they don't get paid enough. So, you know, why should I put a good ending to this story if I'm not getting paid enough for it? Or why should I not go and become a random, like, meat cutter or something if I'm going to get paid the same as drawing an entire big story? The people who get away with, or the people who don't have to worry about that are just, like, the highest of the high in the manga industry, too. Like, the creator of One Piece. Like, the most popular manga in Japan. Like, he doesn't have to worry about anything. Like, he could sleep for a month, and no one would ever dare to, like, reprimand him for it. Like, Oda, the creator of One Piece, owns Jump. Like, he could do whatever he wanted, and Jump would just be like, yes, Oda, yes, if you say so, we'll do it for you. But most people don't have that luxury. Another thing that they could do to improve the anime issue anyway is just produce less shows every season.
Yeah.
Back in the day, way back in the day, back before Andrew watched anime, there was like probably 6 to 7 shows every season that came out. Like 6, 7 shows, like not many. Now it's 20 to 30 plus shows every season, and a lot of them are kind of like shovelware. Just, we better appeal to this demographic and this fetish or something and get all the sales from people who just don't care about the story and just will buy whatever we put out for it.
And sometimes doing
Trapped
that...
in Another World anime, a lot of them.
Well, there's one that we both are interested in, we just haven't seen it yet, is it's kind of that same kind of just throw out there kind of show, but it's got enough of an interesting storyline that it's enough to make people want to see it. That sells at work.
Oh yeah. That doesn't fall in the category in my opinion because that just sounds hilarious.
It does. It's like if for all those doing all this stuff there is
copacetic genocide.
Nice. That's a cool name.
I don't know what copacetic means. I don't either. It must have something to do with a cat with shades. How is a cat with shades going to commit genocide? Tell my illiterate brain that doesn't know what copacetic means.
Well, cats are kind of the spawn of Satan, so...
Whoa! I got a dog guy here, Andrew.
I like cats, but they're... A lot of times, like, they are finicky as hell. They'll be friendly with you 1 second, then they'll rip your face off the next.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
This is very
anyway, back to cells at work. It's like for... Probably, to bring up one that's probably the closest thing to that is that old... TV show Osmosis Jones.
It's educational inside the body anime.
Basically, it's that same kind of concept, but it focuses on a white blood cell and a red blood cell. Specifically.
But they're anime characters.
But the white blood cell is a pale-faced man wearing all white, which a little on the nose, but it makes sense. And the red blood cell, she has, I think, red hair, red eyes, and she wears mostly red. Mm-hmm. And just like what red blood cells do, they transmit oxygen throughout the body and stuff. She'll deliver packages, I guess, of oxygen. I don't know. I haven't actually watched the show. I've just seen this.
Like in real life.
Yeah. So it's an anime based on the actual effects of what goes on in the human body.
And it just looks stupid and great.
It does, but they deal with
stupid in the best way.
What are they? The platelets.
Yeah, the little itty bitty.
They're they're little lollies, and they are in charge of maintaining stuff throughout the body, and it's hilarious. You got them trying to open giant crates with crowbars that are bigger than them. It's like, it's so cute.
That's so adorable. It's cheese and rice.
It's just so cute. And there's hundreds of them. They like attack in droves. It's just like, you got a whole swarm of lollies coming at you. What the hell?
Run!
But that's an example of stuff that's like, it might be just one of the shows trying to fill a slot, but it's enough that it's actually got people's attention.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not saying all shovelware is like...
No, I'm not saying that either.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just feel like that they just put something out there just to get some appeal, but sometimes...
That turns into magic.
It turns into something great. It's like, okay, that's probably going to be a great show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then other times, like, they throw out a show that intentionally looks like it's trying to, like, appeal to a certain group of people, but then the episode 3 rule kicks in and it turns into like a completely different kind of show and like fucks everyone's mind over and like creates a wave like Madoka Magica. There's a lot of shows it's like, oh, it's happy-go-lucky for the first couple episodes, then something horrific happens in episode 3 and it's like, oh, now it's a horror anime. or you heard that School Live show, right?
Yeah,
but do you know anything about it?
No, I haven't actually gotten around to it yet.
So you know nothing?
No.
I can't talk about it.
But
it's one of those anime.
Another one that I still haven't... I got it at the con, just haven't gotten around to it yet, is When They Cry.
Oh, does it start off nice?
From what I can see, it's like the first few episodes, it's like the main guy, he's like coming back to back to a town. He moves to a town. He's a new kid at school, so he's like, yeah, everything's all like that. He meets some people. It's all happy. It even says it on the back. It's like, it seems like a nice, happy little life, everything. He's making friends. They're having fun. And then all of a sudden, people just start disappearing. Oh. And then it's just like, okay, it goes into murderous little lollies.
What's all the lolly talk today? There's lollies everywhere. They all want to kill you or do things with your body that are appropriate because it's inside your body.
You're not helping your case on that one, Mark.
You're right. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm done now.
No, you're not.
This has been Animankai podcast. Hey, I got a song in.
No,
and Andrew didn't leave. I'm sorry, everyone had to go through what I just did. You know, I didn't talk about my new haircut on this podcast either. It's beautiful.
This is what I have to deal with.
I'm sorry. What am I doing?
I don't know. What are you doing?
Ruining everything. Yeah, well, last recommendation on to like what to do to improve the issues just with manga this time instead of anime. Just let the mangaka take more breaks. Give him like I know I would hate it because I'd be like, oh yeah, I can't wait for the new My Hero Academia chapter, but then like there's no chapter that week. But if you like mandatorily gave the people like 1 week off at least a month, Well,
yeah.
That could decrease some of the stress because it's every week consistently for years and
Yeah.
years and years.
It would also give him more time to think of new things instead of having just on the spot think of something.
Exactly. And I mean, they do often, like, some people take breaks. Like, Horikoshi, the writer of My Hero Academia, took a break, but that's because he was involved in the movie production. So he took a break to go work on the movie so he could come back and work on the manga. So, yeah.
Whatever you gotta do, I guess.
They just need more mandatory breaks.
Yeah.
And, like, more assistance. Japan, if anyone Japanese in the manga industry is watching this, which is literally impossible. Literally not even remotely possible. But do that. Go talk to your higher-ups, because our say matters. Yeah. We're two random dudes in America.
It would also it would help also for making more people want to buy more of your stuff, so you would get more money.
Yes. More money.
More money
Yeah.
to make more stuff and make it better.
Yeah.
I already spend hundreds of thousands of dollars anyway. Just make it a little bit better and you'll get my money.
Exactly.
Sad but true. I spend money like crazy.
I feel bad for Andrew. Like, press F to pay respect for Andrew's wallet. Essentially.
Jeez.
But yeah, I guess we can just talk about some anime that we've seen that have good and bad endings, because I think we got through most of the major things I wanted to say. So, want to talk about some anime with good or bad endings first, that we just give examples of.
Take your pick.
Good. Good. We talked about it already a little bit, but Full Metal Alchemist, bro.
Yeah.
Full Metal. Like, even though it got its...
Which one? Regular or Brotherhood?
That's what I'm saying. Even though the regular had its own original ending, it was still a good ending. And then the...
Brotherhood followed the manga.
Yeah, perfectly. Which, it resolved all, like, the plot issues. It, like, had, like, a connection back to the beginning. That's always a good thing to do when you make an ending. Having a full circle effect.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes back around, like, Naruto did it. When the very beginning of Naruto started, it was, this is the story of, like, how the Hokage sealed the nine-tailed fox away, and... Or not the story of, but, like, whatever. 20 years ago.
It just started off with that, yeah.
Yeah, like, 20 years ago, the nine-tailed fox was sealed away by the fourth Hokage, and...
Yeah.
It did this, like, cool, like, old-timey sketch, and, like, had, like, a... It made him look like a mythological figure.
Yeah.
You know? And then...
Which he
like,
kind of is.
Yeah,
He's a kitsune.
Yeah, and you didn't read the manga, but the anime probably did this too. But at the end of the manga, the final page is like the same kind of art style, like the whole old styley art style, and it says the boy, the Hokage's son, befriended the nine-tailed fox, and together they like sealed away the 10-tailed beast and made the world like resolve, like, and so it basically tied it around to the very beginning of the manga.
Nice.
Doing it that way, so it's always cool when you can like do it that way. And of course, like, this hasn't ended yet, but like we've talked about it several times already, but since My Hero Academia started the series by saying, hey, this is the story of how I become the greatest hero in the world. They're already setting themselves up to have a full circle ending of like...
Right.
And Deku became the greatest hero because we told you that at the beginning of the story. Like, it's always a good way to start that way, because that's...
And the fact it's not saying that they say, he said itself about how I became the greatest hero in the world.
Yeah, so at the end, if he survives...
Well, given the fact that he said that, it kind of seems that he has to be.
It seems that way, but that's how they're going to get you. He's going to die. Like,
after he does something that makes him appear to be the greatest hero in the world, then he will die.
Yeah. But I think Full Metal kind of did this a similar thing, because I don't remember exactly. It wasn't to the extent of the two we just mentioned, but like Ed just like reaches his hand out like the window on a train, and he was like telling his philosophy about like equivalent exchange and life, and he's like, and that's living full metal, and he like did this with his metal hand, and I'm like, title drop.
Well, he didn't have his metal hand. The only thing he still had was his leg.
That's right.
Yeah.
Shows how much I remember. Here I am talking about the ending being good, and I don't remember.
You probably watched it soon, recenter than I did. I don't know when the last time you watched it, but I ain't watched it since I bought it, which was 2 or 3 years ago.
I think you've seen it more recently than me.
I've only watched it once.
I watched it when I was on Adult Swim.
Oh, well, that's been a while, but...
Way back. But yeah. So there's one of mine. Do you have any anime you want to talk about that you can think of that had a pretty good ending, or like at least a decent ending?
I got quite a few. I'm just trying to pinpoint something.
Well, while Andrew's thinking, I can go to another one. We talked about this one like for a split second earlier too, but it's an anime Andrew needs to watch, and it's Madoka Magica. Andrew hates hearing about Madoka Magica because it's all I ever ask him to always recommend to him. But
yeah, considering that I've already watched it too.
Yeah, 12 episodes long. It's nice and short, but that series had a good way with how it did its ending too, because basically the whole story is built up to this singular point. It's a cool way to do an ending, because essentially the main girl, spoiler alert if you don't want to know anything about Madoka Magica, the main girl is asked if she wants to be a magical girl, essentially. All the other girls have become one, but she's reluctant. So the whole show, you're like, so when she's the main character, when is she going to become a magical girl? Because that's the point of the show, is to be a magical girl and to fight witches. But Madoka doesn't become a magical girl until the last episode, where she proceeds to like make the biggest wish in the history of the universe and rewrite reality around herself. And like change the whole bad system at the sacrifice of her humanity, essentially.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it turned pretty crazy, but it had like a really unique, good, well thought out ending, a lot of crazy twists, so I liked that one. The reason we're going through all like the ones that are good is because there aren't that many that I finished that actually are good, so it's kind of sad. Like, we were talking to the guy who films here, and he says he hasn't seen like a single anime that has a good ending. And I'm like, yeah, they're a dime a dozen, because all the issues we mentioned before pop up more often than not, sadly. Because like seasonal anime that don't finish the manga, like that leave off on a cliffhanger, I don't really count those as bad ending. It's just a where's my season 2 damn it ending.
Right.
And a lot of the time the manga is not popular enough anymore to warrant them advertising for it, so it never gets to season 2, because like I said, like the whole point of the anime is to be like, hey guys, there's this manga you don't know about. You should go pick it up. Here's the anime. You'd be surprised. That's literally how they use anime.
Yeah.
More for an advertisement than anything else. So, Andrew seems like he's in deep thought.
I guess I got one that you've seen too, and that you've agreed was a pretty good ending. Maria the Virgin Witch.
Oh, yeah. That was a pretty good ending.
Yeah, and it only has 3 manga volumes, so it's actually done and actually did end good.
Oh, I didn't know that. That was short.
Yeah.
So the manga came first?
I believe so, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think the ending of that was pretty interesting, because, like, they kind of... They tied up all the stuff with the church really nicely, and like how like they tied in the whole reason the show was called Maria the Virgin Witch is because she's a virgin. But
well, originally it was just she was that, but she was also trying to put an end to war. She hated violence, and she evidently did it too much times that got the attention of heaven. Which
you were being very vague there. She stopped wars so many times.
Yeah.
We're talking about the show being called Maria the Virgin Witch, and you said she did it so many times that she got the people's attention. I'm like, no. She stopped wars so many times. You said she did it so many times. I was like, well, that kind of...
Well, whatever. She stopped wars so many times.
She's not much of a virgin if that's the case.
She got the attention of heaven,
yeah,
who sent down the Archangel Michael to basically tell her, no, you need to stop. You need to let these people kill each other. Which is ironic, considering...
I'm an angel, but...
Yeah, considering it's humanity's course. It's what has to happen. But she refused. So he was like, okay, you can... They sent a kind of an ambassador or something, some angel, I think it was what she was. The little blue-haired chick that started hanging around him.
Yeah, I can't remember her name.
I can't remember what her name was, but yeah, anyway, she was kind of a spy.
She was great, though.
She was.
It's been a while since I watched the show.
But anyway, Michael gave her a condition. She's like, okay, you want to keep fighting and keep resisting heaven. It's like, that's fine. But it's like, if you ever lose your virginity, you stop being a witch.
Yeah.
So that you wouldn't
which is what she used to stop wars, is her witch power. So
right.
That's a
which is another interesting thing about it is when she did stop the wars, she never killed anyone.
Yeah.
She used monsters, dragons, basilisks.
Just to scare them off, essentially.
Just to split them apart. Never took a life and made sure she never did.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, is a pretty good concept. She hated violence so much that she would use violence, but not enough to actually hurt someone. But... it was also kind of the ironic thing. You wouldn't think that would be a problem, but she ended up... there's a messenger that she kind of likes. And just the whole concept that she does eventually want to do it, but...
Do they at the end? I don't think they did they?
She does lose her powers.
Oh, yeah, but that wasn't That wasn't because she actually lost her virginity, though. That was like a
No.
fake out. Like, there was like a potion that made her lose her powers.
No, I'm talking about the actual very, very end. And that wasn't even a potion, too, because remember, the one soldier guy attempted to rape her.
Yeah.
And
But it didn't happen.
Not fully, but it almost did, and it was enough to temporarily suppress her powers.
No, they thought that was the case.
No, it almost actually happened. The guy that she likes broke in and stopped it right before it was official penetrating.
But that's not what caused her to lose her powers.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No,
That's the whole point of losing her powers.
Argument number 3!
She got drugged enough to where she would be submissed, to where she couldn't resist.
You're missing a plot point, bro.
What am I missing then?
There was a potion thing-ish thingy thing that they gave her before that even happened, or around that time, that suppressed her powers. She thought she got raped, but he got beaten to a pulp before he even got a chance to, like, do anything. So the reason her magic was suppressed wasn't because she got raped, it was because of the magic.
No.
The suppressor thing.
No, it was not. She got...
Fact check! I'm calling for a fact check!
She got... The guy that went in to rape her sent in some kind of gas that paralyzed her.
Yeah, but that's... Maybe the gas that paralyzed her was the thing that got rid of the magic in the first place.
It did not! It just paralyzed her! Then he tried to rape her. The guy came in, stopped him before it happened.
This is very relevant to the topic of the conversation.
But she thought that it happened, so that's why she lost her powers.
And that's why Maria the Virgin Witch had a good ending.
That was not even the ending!
I'm just saying we're off topic.
Whatever. The ending was still good because it did resolve everything. Resolved everything good. The little girl, whatever, was banished from heaven to not to come back and everything, and was just going to disappear. But Michael gave her one wish or whatever. You can choose your mother, your next mother.
And she went up.
She chose Maria. So
that was nice.
So yeah, it's like it didn't show her losing her power, but it did show that her and the guy were together at the end, and that she was pregnant with the girl. Yeah,
some will say it just had a good name because all its plot points that are brought up earlier on was pretty.
They were addressed and dealt with.
Also, the villain of that show was like, not Michael, like the head priest dude. He was cool.
Cool? He was fucking psychotic.
That's why he was cool.
Typical thing whenever there's a church-based show, it's like they always think that it's like they get that crazy look in their face.
He was cool because he was like, he was a zealot, but he was willing to be talked to. Like, she changed his perspective on things.
Toward the very end, but yes.
Yeah. And normally zealots are like, oh, I'm not going to listen to anyone. I'm already too invested in God.
And then ironically enough,
she proved him wrong.
Ironically enough, though, he died after touching Michael.
Because Michael's a damn angel. And he died because he touched an angel.
I guess so, but you wouldn't think that an angel would just willingly kill someone.
It's Michael. He has, like, no soul. He's like a robot.
In that one, he really was, like, all wide-eyed, like, emotionless. It's like, okay, dude, you're the Archangel Michael. What the hell?
I love Michael's design.
He was interesting.
Yeah.
Little bright.
Yeah.
Like, every time you saw him, it was like you almost had to squint to look at him.
Mm-hmm. Another show that we talked about multiple times this round, but more detail here. Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
So, it has the same escalation that Darling and the Franxx had, where there's aliens at the end, but the difference is, other than the fact that
done right,
that that verm literally was pulled from the creator's asshole, is the fact that Gurren Lagann's theme was like breaking up. It was breaking to the surface. It was moving up with your drill, spiraling towards the heaven. That was the whole purpose of the show. Was if you aim high, you can break out of your surroundings into the light. Essentially.
Season 1 did real good, though. That Season 2 at least had like a 4 or 5 or so episode build up to a space event.
Yeah, but they were underground. They drilled up.
I know.
I'm just saying. I know. I'm not saying.
I remember the damn show.
I'm not saying anything you just said was wrong. I'm just telling you the reason why the space thing makes sense is because the first season they drilled through the ground, right?
Yeah.
But then they're on the surface, so there was nowhere else to go. But the whole theme of the show is a drill, and drill keeps spinning and going up, the whole time. So they built up towards it going into space through just the theme of the show.
Right.
It was like from square one, because in Gurren Lagann Season 2, they did introduce the aliens early on in season 2.
You're right.
And at the time, you would think, oh, that's kind of random. Like, there was no aliens in the first place. But, like, even that was set up better because, like, the Spiral King gave, like, this, at the end of season 1, basically gave this warning about, like...
Don't let humanity's population get over, what was it, like 100,000 or something?
Yeah, like, the reason the guy who was on the surface, like, kept everyone underground is because, like, there was this population thing. And if you made the population get above this certain level, basically, they would come.
Right.
Essentially. So, it was set up, like, square one.
Set up for him to... That he was acting as the bad guy, but being the good guy to protect humanity in a way.
Yeah, even though he was a dick to his
Even
daughter.
though he was a dick. I'm not
to
saying
his daughter,
I'm not even saying that he was truly a good guy, but he was a villain that had a right purpose for doing what he was doing.
Yeah, and he kind of came around as it went on, but...
Well, that was because he was kind of...
A living head.
Well, yeah, but he was kind of like almost reprogrammed in a way to where he would want to help.
Oh, and even more so with, like, the theme making sense is it's Gurren Lagann is a Matryoshka doll. It eats those previous robots and gets bigger each time. So, like, the robots they kept getting more mechs, which kept eating each other and getting bigger and bigger. So they went out to space, and then they got as big as, like, a planet, and they got as big as a solar system, and then they got as big as a galaxy. And then they got bigger than the galaxy.
In the special release one.
Yeah, in the special release, they've, like, literally fought by walking on the surface of reality.
Yeah, pretty much. And then they got bigger than that, and they were fighting and standing on God knows what.
And the villain was literally...
Matching them.
Yeah, he was just existence. Pretty much. It was cool, because, like, in the final fight, the villain essentially matched their power just to show that he could beat them with their own power. Because he could have went higher. He could have been stronger than them. But
he could have gone whatever he wanted.
I want to inflict maximum despair, so I'm going to beat you at your own game.
By having the exact same abilities and powers that you guys do.
Even though he's like a soulless dick who had no reason to do that other than to just literally rub it in their face. But,
yeah.
So,
which another thing is like...
was such a good villain, unlike Verm.
Yeah. I do like the edited or the special release version they did with it better than the actual release.
You talking about the throw?
Yeah.
You should probably explain that from the get-go. So
well, because the final, like we just mentioned about how it gets bigger than... they're standing on the fabric of reality, and then they get even bigger. Well, in that one, when on the reality one, they fight, and then they just keep doing all that kind of crazy crap. I don't know.
We have a distraction.
But they were fighting, and they were locked in a Giga Drill. And it was...
Ultimate Attack.
Yeah. And it broke, so then they charged. The anti-spiral just kept launching like tentacles.
More drills.
Yeah, more drills that pinned down the biggest one. He spat out the next biggest one, and then just kept going.
It got destroyed. It just spat out the next one.
And then it eventually got down to the main one, Gurren Lagann, and then it broke. It ripped off its own head, which was Lagann, which is a separate entity. Through it, and then
in the anime, that's where it ends. It pierces the anti-spiral. Yeah. There's a giant hole
with Lagann's head. But in the special one, it was when they were bigger. Then they just kept getting smaller and smaller. But they were all fighting the same size anti-spiral. It was Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, then or Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann,
and Tengen.
And they just kept getting lower, but still fighting the biggest anti-spiral until it got down to Gurren Lagann.
Took his head off through it.
They were still doing the thing, like they were still in the Giga Drill break, but as Gurren Lagann, all the other ones got destroyed. So it was just him stopping it. He broke it and then launched in. Then the whole separation head thing, and then Lagann actually ripped the pilot out of it. Threw it at him, and then they got into a fist fight.
Yeah.
Which was so much better, because then he made his hand turn into a drill with his own blood.
Yes.
And then rammed it through the guy. It's like, and it was godly animation.
Oh my god. Dude, the ending of Gurren Lagann. One of the best anime endings, because it satisfied on all levels. Besides, there's one little thing people get pissed about.
What?
The disappearance.
Oh, the very, very end.
The very, very end.
Yeah.
Like, that was unnecessary, but whatevs.
But it made sense.
Yeah, it still made sense.
It at least was explained that it was going to happen.
That it might happen.
No, it said that it was going to happen. Because without the anti-spiral, she couldn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah. That they were trying to find a way to make it not happen, but
it just didn't happen.
Yeah. So you think of any more, or should I go down one or two more of mine?
Well, are we still in the goods, or were we hitting the bads yet?
We kind of already talked about Naruto's. I wanted to talk about, like, just a little bit of like Code Geass, but without spoiling too much.
That's fine. We'll go into that.
Since we brought those and everything. But yeah, like that series is getting a season 3 now, but pretty much everyone agrees that season 2's ending was perfect. So it's questionable as to like if this is a good move. Because I personally want more Code Geass because it's Code Geass and it's great.
It really is.
It's if you haven't seen Code Geass,
look it up.
And you're watching this, you're gonna get spoiled because we're gonna talk a little bit about the ending. But dude,
the controversial ending.
Yeah, the series has like mechs on skates.
Pretty much.
That also fly, that have hands that blow up other mechs. With
laser hands, as the abridged says.
And special super Sharingans and mind powers.
And
it's
people
like,
that
it's
have...
mechs with the Sharingan. It's Uchiha with mechs. How do you not like...
And also some soldier who has inhuman abilities.
Yeah. And this character named Suzaku, who was a normal human, who later gets an excuse to be like this, but before he gets the excuse, was able to run up while dodging an automatic turret, like running left and right like the Z-shaped formation, run up a wall and kick a fucking turret.
Roundhouse kicked a fucking machine gun turret off the wall.
Yeah, normal guy. He's just really
he's just a normal human.
He just runs a lot of track.
Yeah, that's he said. That was his only excuse. He's like, I run a lot of track.
I run track, bro.
It's like, okay.
Do you not run track? Can you not outrun bullets? I run track. You should be able to outrun bullets.
But whatever,
it's silly.
Yeah, but that's another thing that makes it a good thing too. It had comedy, even though it wasn't trying to be comedic.
Yeah, that was silly comedy, but it was still comedy, like the cat.
Because it was at a serious moment.
Yeah, they have real like intentional comedy too, with like the cat episode.
Oh god, the cat episode was hilarious.
Like, the cat shenanigans episode.
The abridged of that.
Lots of fan service if you want your fan service.
The abridged of the cat part is ungodly hysterical.
Maybe we should do a podcast on our abridged series one day.
We should. That'd be hilarious.
But yeah, Gurren Lagann's ending was awesome. Gurren Lagann.
Code Geass.
Code Geass's ending was awesome because, really big spoiler alert, seriously, like, maybe skip the next minute or two if you don't want to know the ending of Code Geass. Lelouch plans his own death.
By enslaving the entire world.
Well, no, not really.
Well, that's kind of what he did. He made the whole world hate him.
Oh, okay. Okay. He didn't enslave the whole world. He turned the world against him by committing a bunch of atrocious acts, and then through his death would release all the hatred that had been built
to
up
unite humanity.
What do you mean scary?
When did we mention something scary?
Did we mention scary?
I don't know.
Oh, I think that he's talking about that. Don't worry about that.
Oh, okay.
This is unrelated to the podcast.
Okay.
Sing number 2.
That's the guy who was talking about Godzilla earlier.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But he basically turned the whole world against him, and then not faked, but legitimately
instigated
his own death. Thank you. that was a word. Had the guy who we were talking about earlier, who has like the superhuman characteristics named Suzaku, stab him, which Suzaku wanted to kill him anyway because because Lelouch had the single biggest dumbass moment in the history of every anime that has a smart main character.
That really was dumb, and he's supposed to be a brilliant genius.
Yeah. So just for the funds, he was telling his sister,
half-sister,
who is a princess, about his ability, and his ability was currently going out of control.
Right. Or he didn't know it either.
Yeah, and he was explaining to her what would happen if he used the power on her. And he's like, if I happened to tell you to kill all of the people in this stadium.
Britannians, I think is what they were.
11s. Yeah. If I told you to kill all the 11s, which are like the Japanese people in there, in the stadium, you'd have to do it. And then she's like, and he's like, and then she runs out with the gun and starts murdering a bunch of innocent civilians.
And then then he looked in a mirror or something and seen that his Geass activated without him even realizing it, and that caused a big uproar, and then he actually had to kill his own half-sister.
Yeah, that was...
Which whom he actually liked, and set up that meeting to show a peace treaty.
That was a sad fucking...
That really was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has feels too.
All the feels. But yeah, like the whole instigated death thing was amazing as an ending because you had really been wondering what the hell Lelouch had been up to the entire second half of the series.
Yeah.
Because it's like, man, Lelouch became a big dick.
He really
in the
did.
second half of the show. Like, why? Like, he was always a dick, but he was not that bad.
And then the fact that also that Suzaku was actually helping him.
Yeah, which came out of nowhere. Like, he wanted to kill Lelouch, and then one episode he just drops in and saves Lelouch, and it's like, why? And
then he become like the personal bodyguard.
Yeah, I was like, huh? So it all tied together really nicely, and how they're going to do a season 3 is beyond me. I hope it's good. If it's not good, though, you can always just pretend it never happened and just pretend it didn't end at the end of the second season. Because you don't have to acknowledge season 3's existence if it turns out being bad.
Yeah.
Similar show, Death Note. Andrew hasn't seen this yet.
No. It's on my list.
Okay, so we won't talk too much about Death Note. I'll just say it has a good ending because I don't want to spoil it for Andrew. Just it all builds up the right way. Has a. Have you seen Death Note? Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
You like Death Note?
Yeah.
Hey, see, you have seen an anime with a good ending. Don't you think Death Note's ending was good?
I don't know if I made it that far.
You
just said you watched the ending.
I watched it.
Okay.
I watched a lot of it.
Oh, there we go. There's
but you liked it, though.
I think I actually watched the ending. I just don't remember it.
Well, I guess. Well, since Andrew's actually on Andrew's list, I won't say it. But it was good. Like.
Yeah, I mean, like, I remember like the build up and stuff.
Yeah. It all accumulated where it should have. Now let's talk about one we've actually both seen. I'm not going to talk about Kenshin. I have it on my list, but Ass Class. Since we can both get in on this one.
Yeah.
Andrew got me into Assassination Classroom.
Did I? I thought you got me into it.
Did I?
Maybe it was Ian that got me into it.
What? Ian hasn't seen Assassination Classroom?
Well, he mentioned something about it, but either way, I think it must have been you that at least mentioned it to me, that said that it was coming out, that it looked interesting, about kids trying to kill their teacher that had an emoji face.
Living emoji tentacle monster.
Yeah. Which, yeah, it starts off hilarious and everything, and then the premise
the most full circle ending of all time.
Oh my god, yes.
Literally, when I was talking about full circle endings, this is about as full circle as it gets.
Yeah. Starts off, just one day, the moon, 70% of the moon is destroyed. Permanent crescent moon.
Mm-hmm. And
the government shows up at this school with kind of reject kids. Like, it's off there because nobody gives a crap about them. And then this tentacled teacher walks in, and he's like, yeah, I blew up the moon, and I'm going to do the same to Earth at the end of the year. The government comes in and is like, yeah, we need you to kill this thing. And it's like, all right.
He wants to teach you for some reason.
Yeah, and it's like, as an incentive, you get $10 billion if you kill him.
Was that how much it was?
Yeah.
Dang, I could use that.
Yeah. Or no, maybe not 10 billion, 10 million.
Still enough.
Still enough. And they're all just like, okay, we're on board.
Done.
But the catcher is that the guy can move at Mach 20.
Yeah, so...
And it's hilarious. But they have specific guns that only can hurt him. Mm-hmm. Like rubber BBs that are specifically... that can kill him. And he even...
anti-me bullets.
Yeah, and ironically enough, he gave them the technology to make them to fight him anyway.
Yeah. He wants to die, but he doesn't want to die.
He doesn't want... He's not just going to stand still and let somebody kill him.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, it goes around all that. Nobody can really get him. The closest one, I think, that actually in the beginning that came even close is Nagisa, with the whole suicide thing. Mm-hmm. It wasn't real, but Karma. It was... I'm saying, like, in the beginning, he was the only one that could do it. Karma is the first one that actually hurt him. Mm-hmm. Because Karma had such nonchalantness to him. Had one of the knives, he cut up on his hand, shook his hand, and blew up his hand. Yeah. Which he can also regenerate almost instantaneously.
Yeah, to kill him, you have to basically tag one specific part of his body.
Right, his heart.
Yeah. Which I don't think they knew that weakness. I don't think Nagisa ever got the weakness.
They knew. They found out.
Did they?
Yeah, after Ichino started joining them.
Okay.
But yeah, in the beginning, they couldn't figure out how to stop him. And then he kept giving them hints about everything, about, like, even poisons.
Like, it was cool because Nagisa, like, took this whole notebook, like, with all of his weaknesses, and, like, in one particular episode, pretty far into the series, they, like, set up a trap involving, like, all the notes Nagisa compiled throughout the whole series, which is cool, because it's like an episodic series almost. Yep. Like, every episode's something different, but they all come up with all these weaknesses, but then they kind of pull all the episodicness together to unite it into this one episode with, like, all the knowledge they've obtained in the episodic episodes to take them out. And then he has a perfect shield form.
Yeah, which was bullshit. Let's see, some of his abilities were, or weaknesses, he freaks out easily.
Water.
He can't swim. New environment changes freak him out.
Biggest weakness of Koro Sensei is the fact that he is dedicated to his students and will protect their lives at all costs.
Oh yeah, he will sacrifice his own life for his students.
Which means the students would put themselves in danger in order to get the drop on him.
Actually, the only one that ever did that was Karma.
I thought there was more. I thought there was at least 1 or 2 times that happened.
No, only Karma when he attempted his suicide.
It was still a really good attempt, though. That was
really
one of the closest they got.
Yeah, until Koro Sensei obviously beat him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they had so many weaknesses. They actually came the closest than any government officials ever did. But yeah, he had a perfect shield form, which is just his head in a ball that can't be penetrated by anything. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of that season
happens.
Yeah, then everything's going all good. Everything's going great. Then they come up to the point. It's like, well, it's coming down to the wire. It's like, well, we actually have to do this.
Yeah, we won't talk about his backstory. He had a really sad backstory too, but for the sake of time, we won't go into it. But
then the ending, and it's just like, oh my god, the ending.
It was great because here's the big spoiler: like the whole series was about killing Koro Sensei. So I was like, man, I hope they actually don't. Like, I didn't want him to die because he's such a good character.
Yeah, and it was such a comedic show. You didn't think that it was gonna happen anyway.
Yeah, but I was like, if it does end, like. He should probably die. That's the whole concept of the show, and they went through with it, but they made it so sad.
So sad and so emotional. Like all the weaknesses he gave him, like the one specific one, like to where if everybody holds him down, he can't move
because he's actually like physically kind of weak. Even though
he's built for speed. He said he has no power.
Yeah,
like which is ironically enough because he's demonstrated significant power throughout the series.
Mostly when he like goes in like his black form.
Well, that's just anger. But, I mean, like, he used his speed to use power. But mostly it goes back to him being speed.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they held him...
speed, not his actual power.
Yeah. But, yeah, they held him down, and then the whole thing with... They actually do end up killing him, and it is one of the most emotional things I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was sad.
It really was sad, and then just the continuation of it, of, like, the last episode of it, of... They all... Their lives... They had such productive lives because of everything he did for them. Mm-hmm. Which is just like, oh, man.
Yeah, I should say also, in general, another trope that gets used in seemingly every single series, not all, but most, is there's usually a last-minute time skip at the very end when a series, usually when a series properly ends, anyway.
Yeah.
Like, Naruto, oh, we got a time skip. Naruto's married and has kids now.
Yeah.
Assassination Classroom, well, it's over. Well, time skip. Like, Nagisa's a teacher now.
That one, I don't think that was too big of a time skip. I think maybe a year or something.
No, Nagisa was a teacher.
He was still young.
Yeah, but I think he just didn't grow. I think he was just short. Because Karma got way taller.
Yeah, but remember, they were young to begin with, and Karma was already fairly tall to begin with.
I'd say at least 3 years.
I don't think it ever actually says, but yeah, I don't think it was too terribly long. But yeah, Karma shot to fucking 6'5". God damn.
Fangirls went wild that day. There's a lot of Karma fangirls.
Yeah, and a lot of Karma, and a lot of people that like to pair Nagisa and Karma.
Yeah, we pairings.
Which is ironic enough, because yeah, Nagisa's a trap.
Nagisa is in fact a trap. He has girly pigtail hair.
Yeah, and ironic that one episode where everybody actually thought he was a girl anyway until the pool. They're like, you're actually a guy? It's like, you didn't know that?
So how did you not know? Yeah, I think that's good for like some of the better anime endings I've seen. You got any like particularly like horrible examples of like endings for shows that I haven't seen maybe, or that you have?
That were good?
That were bad.
That were bad? Oh. Okay.
Plenty. You don't have to go through them all. Just maybe like 1 or 2. Like
doing anime or manga?
Anime.
Oh, big one that I've even told you about. Rosario Vampire.
Oh yeah, you said like the manga was completely different. Like
the anime made it seem like this happy-go-lucky school life thing, and this guy goes to a school full of monsters. And the thing is, they're not allowed to reveal that they are monsters, what kind they are, and all that, as long as they're on school grounds. Which is like, okay, it seemed fun and everything because I hadn't read the manga. Mm-hmm. But I watched, it's like, okay, kind of left it on a cliffhanger thing in the show. Read the manga. Only about like the first half of the manga or the anime. No shit. First volume of the manga was the happy-go-lucky thing.
Okay, and then
the rest of it, it was still good interaction with everything that was like normal, but a lot more fights, a lot more interesting monsters, a lot more significant things. Like people actually were almost dying, and just all the other crap.
So the anime just changed everything essentially.
they used the first half of the first volume, and then everything else was just bullshit made up. They kept the main monsters that were important the same, like the Kitsune they dealt with, the mermaid, the Lamia. They kept all the monsters, but they changed the scenarios of meeting them and interacting with them and all that kind of shit.
And the more serious plots that come later.
Oh yeah, specifically the ending. The ending of the anime the first season ended pretty much with the manga. It had a manga ending, so that one I can give credit to that one. Season 2, bullshit. Like almost the entire season was filler. Damn. And that's 26 episodes of filler. The ending especially, they go to Moko, who's the main vampire. They go to her dad's castle to get a new rosary to help suppress her actual vampire ability, because Moko has like a split personality thing. And they go through all that. He starts demonstrating some power because he ingested some of her blood earlier on. Which in the manga, it's rested that power kept activating so many times that he turned into a ghoul. And he actually had to have a seal himself. But in the anime, he used it only once against her father, got all that, got the rosary, happy-go-lucky ending. And in the manga, none of that happened.
Wow.
Don't see her dad, don't fight, none of that. It ends with almost an apocalyptic world monster fight, and he ends up becoming a vampire.
Wow.
It's like the end.
How to not change your manga.
Oh, the manga was fantastic. The anime was bullshit.
Yeah, well, I'll read it at some point.
Good, yeah.
I promise. Since I told you I would.
Yeah. I lent you the anime to watch first so you can see how absolutely terrible it is. But yeah, that's the biggest one I have of just complete shit.
Yeah. I'll only go through like one or two really quickly, but like one of my favorite old series was called Magi, and it was great. And it's still, I still think the ending's pretty like acceptable, but it's just like I don't want to say too much because Andrew is probably interested in maybe reading it at some point.
I am.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of just the rushed thing. Everything is the final villain just kind of got dusted off, and a lot of the plot points wrapped up really quickly, and like the last chapter was good, but it was just kind of upsetting. I don't really have too much to say other than it was a little disappointing. But and then there's another series called Claymore, which like it was okay until the very end, because like it could have ended just fine, but then they're like, hey, you've beaten everything. We were on this small, turns out we were just on this small section of the earth separated from the rest. The whole rest of the world is filled with monsters that are 50 times as bad. Now, like, go off and fight them. Like, it's okay to have our journey continues kind of ending. It's just, it was really, really lazily thrown in there. It should have happened. I was like, no. But yeah, as far as like shows that are currently running that I think could but have a good ending with how they've been set up. We talked about already why My Hero Academia might have a good ending, because it's kind of like set up the whole hero thing from the start. But Attack on Titan probably will possibly have a pretty good ending, considering the fact that they went so deep into like the lore of like the families and stuff, and like
oh yeah, they've covered a lot of the plot points that were unexplained in season 1 and 2.
Yeah, like, cause like that was kind of like Attack on Titan had as much setup as Darling in the Franxx with all the questions. Except Attack on Titan's questions all got answered in a great way, and Darling in the Franxx answers didn't.
Yeah. Well, there's still a lot of questions about Attack on Titan that we still don't know yet.
Yeah, so.
But they're the ones that they have given us, they've come very, very late, but they were properly built up for it. So that's a big difference.
Yeah, and another reason I think it might end well is because, like, we've gone past the point where shit takes a big turn. Like, the plot is way different now compared to before, but it's still good.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times when a series like makes the big plot twist change and the story goes on a complete different trajectory, the writing and stuff gets noticeably worse. But with Attack on Titan, it's remained just as good, if not even better than that. So
nice.
Yeah. And I just gotta throw in my favorite series out there, Gintama. It's good. It's gonna have a great.
Can we just have one where you don't mention Gintama?
Nope. That's all I'm gonna say, just because I talk about it all the time. So it's gonna end great. Everyone's gonna get down and kiss Hideki Sirachi's shoes for how good it was. But you said really quickly before we end this, You said you had a relation with kaiju to endings.
Yes. The two new, I guess it's the two new because there's only two of them out. The Godzilla anime. Like,
City on the Edge of Battle was the second one.
Yeah, the first one is Godzilla Monster Planet, which there's not so much bad about that other than the fact that it's called Monster Planet, and yet the only monsters that you see are these new creatures called the Servum and Godzilla. It's like, okay, Monster Planet, where's the other monsters? Mm-hmm. Unless they were just meaning because that Godzilla pretty much took over the world, he's meaning that it is a monster planet. But either way, it was still kind of had a twist ending, which I kind of enjoyed. They were fighting Godzilla that they found, which they were confused because 20,000 years had passed and he hadn't changed at all. Still 50 meters tall, still just everything about him was identical.
I feel like the older Godzilla gets, the bigger he gets.
Huh?
That's just how it works. Seems like.
The older he gets, the bigger. Okay.
Kind of like a turtle.
I think mostly snakes. Snakes keep growing until they die.
Well, I know ancient turtles are always.
They're big, but yeah. But yeah, like they're going through. They fight this Godzilla. They come up with a plan to kill him, which for once actually comes true. They do actually kill Godzilla, but it wasn't the Godzilla. They killed off something called Godzilla Filius, which is in a way a miniature clone. They kill it, and they're all kind of celebrating and being like, okay, but then they're like saying, this doesn't make any sense. After 20,000 years, why would he have not evolved like the rest of the planet? And then seismic activity, and then like a freaking nearby mountain just moves, and it's the original Godzilla, now Godzilla Earth as he's been dubbed, who stands over 1,000 feet tall and is just complete carnage incarnate.
Carnage incarnate. Say that 5 times fast.
But his abilities are insane.
And he arrived at the end of the first one.
Yeah, like
Did he get any screen time in number 2?
Yeah, the whole thing was about him in number 2 because the Filius was dead. So yeah, it was dealing with Godzilla Earth. But his abilities at the end of the first one, we didn't get to see very much because he was only in there for like maybe 4 or 5 minutes at the end of the film, which kind of pissed off a lot of people about that. But he has kind of a sonic pulse that he can do. It's not an atomic breath, but the way that his roar hits such a high a pitch that it created a shock wave that could go out and destroy anything that it touched.
Nice.
And then an atomic tail slice, where he could swing his tail so fast that it created a nuclear radiation slice pulse that sliced mountains and all the other bullshit apart. And that one was good. The ending of that was good. People cut that one some slack because it's like, okay, that was a nice build-up. But then the second one, I don't know why people bitch about it so much. Mostly just because Mechagodzilla never showed up. But yeah, because it was supposed to be its City on the Edge of Battle. And they find that Mechagodzilla, after 20,000 years, somehow had survived, even be it just his head, rebuilt a city, and they used it to fight Godzilla. To try to lure him into a trap, which they actually got him into. They dealt with nanometal. They poured it into a pit.
Machine, son.
Yeah, pretty much. They poured it into a pit. It hardened around his legs and his tail so he couldn't move. And then they tried the same weapon they used on Filius by destroying the shield generator that he can generate that are on his dorsal spines. They destroyed it. They sent EMPs into his body to blow him up, which is how they killed Filius, which at first was really kind of an interesting concept. But then Godzilla was able to generate heat and created almost sun-like temperatures where nothing could even get close to him, despite being, like, they're in these ships called the Vultures that are hundreds of miles in the sky, and they were still feeling the heat. So they came down, they did destroy the city, and the aliens that were until that time working with them, but kind of turned traitor, to basically say...
Working with the humans?
Yeah, because they were the whole reason why they left in the first place. 2 alien races came in the first one. They joined up with them. They built Mechagodzilla. Didn't get it activated in time, so they all left Earth. But they came back, and turns out this race wanted to almost be one with monsters. So they allowed Mechagodzilla's nanometal to absorb them. Mm-hmm. And they still were presuming to be traitors. But everybody was just bitching about that one because of the way it ended with no Mechagodzilla, even though it advertised him, even had him on the poster, and there's even a toy of him.
Yeah, definitely don't end your series with, like, without showing what you advertised the movie for.
Right, that's what everybody's so bitching about. But the third one, people are
hopeful for.
Yes, because of the after credit scene. Both of them had after credit scenes. This one in particular emphasized the fact that that there is something else out there in space that is even worse than Godzilla, despite him being 1,000 feet tall, which he wasn't when this alien race first found Earth. He was only 50 meters tall, and they were they were still saying that even compared to this new Godzilla, this creature is so dangerous and so deadly that even this new Godzilla is not even worth the time or the fear. And it's freaking King Ghidorah.
Which is the hypest thing that any Godzilla movie on.
Pretty much, but even at that, people are still complaining about that because anytime that they're dealing with new monsters, it's always Ghidorah, Ghidorah, Ghidorah. I can understand because, well, yeah, it kind of gets a little bit old, but I understand because he is the most formidable and Godzilla's rival. So it makes sense to keep using him, but use something else. He's got 30 or 40 other monsters. It's like...
Make a new one.
Yeah, I mean, they did it with the Mutos, and everybody loves the Mutos.
Yeah, branch out a bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
We got a franchise like that with all the different monsters, like newer iterations. It's probably a good idea to try to throw some new things in there,
I mean,
not just reinvent the old monsters.
There's several monsters that they can use that are not as powerful, but just as dangerous as Ghidorah. There's Space Godzilla, Orga, Destroya.
Bring Destroya back.
Oh my god, if they brought Destroya, that would be amazing. But yeah, Orga and Space Godzilla, they're both space monsters, and they both have Godzilla's DNA. So they're basically, he's fighting himself, and they're just about as powerful as him. Yeah. Oh. But whatever, they're using Ghidorah, but I get no issues. But yeah, those are just some of the complaints about that. Of still ended good, but kind of... Mm-hmm. Kind of not quite what people were expecting, especially the second one. The first one people can let go. The second one, though, with all that advertisement of Mecha G, and they don't even show him.
Yeah.
Well, he was a city, but he wasn't actually Mecha Godzilla.
False advertisement.
Pretty much. Unless they're saying that he's going to show up in the third one, and like have a three-way team-up
At
or
this
something.
rate, I think that would be kind of just pointless. It's like, you already messed it up.
Considering that Mecha Godzilla actually got fully destroyed, even though he wasn't there, but...
Yeah.
And the fact that there also hasn't been any monster fighting in these two movies also. Like, you'd think that doing that, it'd be something other than just humans flying around in little spaceship creature things to fight him that can't do shit to hurt him, that they would have monsters. And this one is people are starting to lose some faith because no monsters, no fighting, false advertising. They're excited for Ghidorah, but kind of scared at the same time. It's like, okay, what if he shows up down here and it's all off-screen fighting?
I never know. Hopefully the legendary Godzillas can make up for it.
Oh god, that one's gonna make up for shit. That's gonna be amazing.
But yeah, I think that's most of our ending talks we had planned. We went through quite a few different good ones and bad ones, I think, and some of the general points meandered a little bit here and there. But hey,
yeah,
it's been 2 weeks. We got to get back into form.
It's been 3 weeks actually.
3 weeks. We're out of shape with our talking to camera skills. We've regressed.
We've regressed a little bit,
but it's okay. Cool. I'm sure the 2 people who watched this enjoyed it. All right, well, this has been Animankai. See everyone later. Have fun. Bye. Bye.
No keep it squirrely?
Huh?
No keep it squirrely?
Also keep it squirrely. Because we came up with that. At the very least, we've left some kind of legacy on the network. with normalizing keeping it squirrely. So I don't know if this stream's ended yet. It probably has. But keep it squirrely again.